hello, and welcome back to Wellness Watch. We missed you. We missed a week, but anyway, you won't notice because you'll get it and love it. So anyway, we are back this month. Well, next month is Heart Health Month, and we wanted to give you a little preview on it as to some of the things that happen with your heart. But I also want to mention, and I will again at the end, that we have a pro coming on next time who's a cardiologist and who can really make sense of whatever we tell you that you didn't understand. So
he'll break it down.
You know, he'll break it down with the real background to back it up. So anyway, do remember that. We're in red because heart health is a red color, and we'll be in red next time too.
Yes, it's the color of the month.
Yeah, so the 3rd of February is Heart Health Month, so we're red, and anyway, that's what do they call it? Wear
And it's
Red Day?
actually National Wear Red Day.
National Wear Red Day.
Yeah, so first Friday of February every year is, and that's been going on since 2004. I don't know if people really realize.
I remember it, but not the I hadn't gotten the pattern of of the Friday.
And it's amazing because they've actually raised $60 million since 2004, and their big sponsor Macy's, who's been totally behind this event
the whole way,
and yeah, it's really amazing because, and they really focus on the Go Red and for women because it is the #1 killer for women, and 1 out of 3 women.
The statistics are frightening. We don't mean to bring you down, but this kind of information can, just because it's bigger than we know. It's bigger than we imagine in terms of how often someone is affected by it or passes away from it. So our goal today is just to talk about some of what the prevention can be, some of what has gotten better over the years in terms of treatment. I was reading that it became a whole different way to treat it when drugs and surgery and all that sort of thing used to be the only thing they would just rush right to. Right. And now they're making lifestyle the whole centerpiece of it with diet, exercise, healthy living, and getting rid of stress and all that stuff. So
it's taken a whole different approach, and I really think, Judy, that with us trying to even bring more education to heart disease, because I even sometimes find it staggering of when you start looking at numbers and statistics of what this disease does, and it's a preventable disease.
It's preventable.
And that we have control of what we do.
And you can survive now when you didn't used to be able to. There's so much that can happen, but a lot of it is the prevention.
Right.
It's the lifestyle you live, it's the food you eat, it's the exercise you get, it's the sleep you get, it's the de-stressing you can do of your life.
Yeah.
All of those things make it decrease your chances of congestive heart disease.
And actually, that's a good segue into talking about Life Simple 7, which is something that came out of the Go Red movement, and all things that you're talking about. And just to go over what those Life Simple 7 are, is about managing your blood pressure. And you talked about stress and how that impacts people, and really trying to keep your blood pressure low is going to certainly help that heart not have to work so hard.
Totally.
And we don't want it to have to overpump.
No, that's right.
So that's one, and controlling cholesterol. So really being aware of what you're eating and what the cholesterol levels are, and making sure that you don't get that buildup of plaque in your arteries.
And get it checked. Make sure your doctor is prescribing that every year, that you go check it along with anything else they want to check.
Yeah, and actually one of the things that, related to the Life Simple 7s is for some that may not know, the simple thing of know your numbers.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people don't know your numbers. And what does know your numbers mean? It's knowing your blood pressure, it's knowing your glucose, it's knowing your cholesterol numbers, it's knowing your weight. Because all of those things are what will either drive you to living healthier or drive you the other way, which we don't want people to go.
Because we know what who the candidates are for it. All the opposite of all that is heavy obesity, frankly.
Right, and that's definitely
and the diet and that sedentary life they may be living. Those are all things that you can do something about.
Yeah.
And our get up and move just means that. It's
that simple.
Not a big scale necessarily, just do it something regularly.
Yeah, so obesity is one of the top.
For sure.
Being overweight, and again, we know there's an epidemic in the country of obesity and how heavy people are, and again, that is comes down to what you eat and the movement that you make.
That's top two right there.
Those are really, it's that simple.
It is simple.
Change your diet and move more.
It's not. We know it's not easy to
It's
change.
not
When
easy.
you ask someone to make a change, you don't want to overwhelm yourself by trying to change everything at once. But add one more vegetable to your meals, or don't do it in a big way that'll turn you off and scare you and seem undoable. Just do little things. Get out and walk a little bit, and then increase the vegetables, and take away some of the breads, and just. I mean, you need all three categories. You need protein, produce, and carbs. I'm a big believer in that.
Right.
But you also know portion control is a big factor, because
Yeah.
if you eat all those things in a big mountain on your plate, it ain't going to help.
Right, right. And having that color
Yeah.
on your plate and bringing it, one of the things that I try and tell people when I meet with them and talk about their food and what they're eating is to say, get rid of all your dinner plates.
Right.
You should only be
A
eating off
dessert
a
plate
lunch,
or a
lunch plate, the good old
6,
lunch
8
plate.
inch type thing is plenty.
In that, I love going into some of these stores that you have the plate with the plate with the plate, and it's like, we don't need all that.
No, it's too much food.
It's too much food, and so
and
just
you are
go
going to
with a
tend to
small
fill
plate.
up a big plate.
Absolutely.
If you have the right amount on a huge plate, you feel like you're underfeeding someone
Yeah.
or yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of that's right here.
Isn't it white space is a good thing?
Yes, white space is a great thing.
So
and there's so much psychology with it, because just getting it all on that plate, it looks like you're really going to be satisfied.
Right.
But up here, you think you're not if you see that little bit of that same amount on a big dinner plate. Yeah, and I also, one of my easy things to do once when I made a big switch was get out of the pantry. Processed stuff. Just don't do the packages, don't do the cans, if you can help it. Canned tomatoes are fine, but I mean,
Yeah.
but get out of the pantry and the whites. And that's all I had to do once to get huge changes made.
Yeah, you just have watch the sodium counts that are in canned products, which, now with all the requirements that they have to
They're there.
put them out there. So read your labels.
And don't just read calories.
No.
Don't just read any one thing,
Right.
because their
Read the sugars
sodium
and the sodiums.
is a secret killer in everything nowadays.
They can be really, 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 the numbers can be deceiving
Of course.
on that can. And, excuse me, we've talked also about looking at the serving size. But instead of salt, try a spice.
Do a spice or a powder or something, a garlic powder over garlic salt or that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's a
something.
difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those are little changes that won't take away all the flavor
right.
or how you feel about it. It doesn't change the texture. It just would change what's going on in here,
Yeah, and protecting the heart and helping it
protecting the heart.
continue to
There's so
be,
many risk factors that between the eating, the sleep, the sedentary life,
another big one.
diabetes, smoking.
I was just going to say another one we haven't really talked about that is related to it is smoking.
Boy, there's another
It's-
killer, but it's also heart related,
Yeah,
not just lung.
And that's one of the simple 7 is to stop smoking. And if you really are committed to living a healthy life, those are things that you've got to, manage your blood pressure, control your cholesterol,
Yes.
watch your, reduce blood sugar because of diabetes.
Right.
You said movement and staying active. We got to eat better, so a
Eat
better
for
diet.
sure.
You've got to stop smoking and then
Get your
lose
weight down. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
it's not complicated,
No.
but again, it's getting, and we've talked about this in a couple other shows, it's getting that routine and
The habit.
making those little changes and making those habits because
Yep.
we really want people to start thinking about putting their best foot forward, and every one of us is our best foot,
Of
our
course,
best
of course,
person.
and we're our best advocate too.
And
So
shouldn't we be doing that for ourselves?
Yeah.
We're number one priority, and we don't. Personally, I don't want to be a statistic. I don't know about you.
no, I'd like to be a statistic as a survivor, but not as I didn't get heart disease. That would be
Right,
my
right.
headstone, maybe.
Right. I did the right thing.
I didn't do it right. I
yeah.
did it right.
We want to celebrate
But
that.
I think, yeah, the blood pressure, it's funny, I was in the hospital recently and I was checking when they took my blood pressure and I looked up on the thing and I said, ooh, that's really good for me. She said, you know your blood pressure?
Oh.
I said, oh yeah, I do. And I know usually when I'm in that situation, it's off the charts. And it was off the chart low and I was thrilled. And so anyway, she said, most people don't pay attention to that stuff. Well, I was glad I was I was paying attention.
Yeah, and that goes back to the thing when we talked about knowing your numbers. And I would challenge, and you know me, we always have a challenge for our audience and our viewers.
Here it comes.
Is, you know, do you have a primary care provider, a PCP? Who out there right now, to ask yourself,
Right.
do you have a doctor that
Who
you?
would you call if?
Yeah.
Would
And-
they know? Would your family know? Would anyone know who it is? Have it on the fridge. Every
And-
number you have in your life should be on the fridge. That's my goal, my
Right.
mantra. I want my kids to be able to walk in and say,
Aha.
oh, what do we do now? Oh,
Yeah.
there's her doctor,
Yeah.
there's her accountant, there's all that good stuff.
Yeah, and it's really important because they're the ones that are going to help you navigate how you are able to control all those things we
Yeah,
talked
they're
about.
what did we call them once? Anyway, they're the person, the base, and they're the ones that are sending you here, having you draw blood, getting you to a mammogram, they're the ones that are directing your performance.
Right, right.
Oh,
So,
that was good.
and you look at it as a partnership.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, a marriage or a relationship, if you're not married, your doctor is your partner
Yeah.
in your healthcare.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to trust that person and you've got to be honest with that person and
Right.
you've got to share all those things with them so that they know everything that you're up against. And, you know, there's some things, you know, people say, well, I'm up against the wall. I'm doomed because everybody in my family's had a heart attack
Yeah.
or my
Well,
grandmother
that
or whatever.
history also is something we forgot to mention,
So
but
there
know
are
that.
there are some
Yeah.
things that we can't control.
Genetics.
Genetics, you can't control that.
But it's good to know,
But you have to know it.
because your doctor may say, do you have any of this in your family?
And
And
then-
boy, does that determine what he's going to do with you.
It really tunes him into how to work with you in a
Yes.
much different and more educated.
Things change
way.
dramatically when they see certain things in your history. What
Yeah.
would have been a 10-year plan for this procedure, it's
Right.
not going to be if you have that
Yeah,
in
yeah.
your family. So it sounds small, but it's huge when it comes to what your primary care physician needs to know.
Absolutely.
And it's in your record, and he can check it and say, oh, yeah.
Mm.
So it is a team. Partner first, PCP second.
Yeah. And then you get your support of your other team, of the people that you're having help you
Yeah.
change those habits. So
Right.
it's secular.
And they can help with some of this stuff. The doctors can help tremendously with quitting smoking. They know the programs, they know the places to go and all of the
Yeah.
things you can take and chew and all that sort of thing. But they also know a lot about how to change everything on the list we just talked about. They know something about nutrition. They know something about diabetes and sedentary and all. They know something about all the triggers.
Right. They can sort of piece it together, if you will. And, you know, we talk about making a plan,
Yep.
as we know, making a game plan for your life. And you need to have someone that's going to hold you accountable
Yes.
and you can report back so that you can see the improvement that you've made, because they're kind of your cheerleader. Not only are they
Right.
your honesty partner,
Right.
but how many times have you gone back to the doctor and they've seen a change, kind of like you were just talking about, and you know your numbers, your blood pressure, and if they're good,
And they see
they celebrate that.
Right, they're reading your chart, I hope, if they're any good. If they're not, fire them. But they're going to weigh you. They're going to get everything about you and send you in for blood testing. And most of those things, you're going to tell them quite a story.
Right.
when-
And if they
when
see a positive change, then
they'll be applauding you.
yeah, exactly. And we all need that. We all need that positive reinforcement. So it's a team effort. It's you, it's your doctor, it's your family, it's your people you might exercise or walk with.
Right.
It's anybody that you need support to get you to a healthier life.
And let them in on it. If it's not just your partner, if it's a best friend, let her know
Yeah.
too.
Let
And
them
you
know.
can do the same for her, because the more people you have on your team, the better your chances and
Yeah.
the more accountable you will be.
Yeah.
So,
I have a team. You're part of my team.
oh, you're part of mine.
And that's what's so important, is that you know that person's going to be there for you, and it holds you. It makes you think twice about, okay, yeah, no, I'm going to have that extra.
Right. If your conscience doesn't do it,
cookie,
it's thinking about
yeah.
them that will,
Yeah.
because someone's going to
It-
come down on you.
It's like there's
Jiminy
two,
Cricket.
well, there's a little devil and there's an angel, and you have to
And they both
weigh
want you.
it out. They do.
They both fight
come
over
at
you.
And so make it be the good one
Right.
that speaks louder.
Do me a favor. You
Yeah.
quoted some amazing numbers to me earlier.
Well,
That kind of shook me. And I think it'll be a shock a shake to everyone out there. I just think
Everybody
it's
hold
stunning
on.
when you hear that. And not to be depressing, I think it's just
It's
an
a reality
eye-opener.
check,
Yeah.
eye-opener reality
Yeah.
check for people, because I don't think people realize that every day in the U.S., 2,200 people die of heart disease.
That's frightening. It's 2,100 people dying, not 21 people having a heart
22.
issue. I mean, 22.
Every 40 seconds,
Right. So
somebody
it's not,
is dying from a heart disease.
it's amazing.
Yeah, and that's really scary to think that there's that many. And another statistic that was in here is that, which I thought was pretty amazing, is that each year, it's 610,000 Americans die from heart disease. One in every 4 deaths is from heart disease. And here's another one that sent me right over the edge, was heart disease costs the United States $207 billion.
Billion with a B.
Billion with a year, each year. That's healthcare services, medications, and loss of productivity. So not only is your team your family, but it should also be your workplace.
Yep.
And that there should be support for people in the workplace.
That's true.
To number one, is there work-life balance? Is there too much stress? Are they allowing people time to, get up and move or exercise? Right. And what type of benefits are a part of their benefit plan or package to
Exactly.
encourage people to get discounts?
I mean, some people do gyms and I mean, there's a lot to give people if you have an enlightened one, and I think they're becoming more enlightened, but not enough probably yet, and not fast enough.
Right.
Because all of that stuff should be part of your package.
Yeah.
That they win. I did a fitness.
It shows that they value you as an employee.
I did a fitness program with a big company over in West Leb, and I took everyone's measurements and this and that, made them do a few drills, and then came back 6 months later and see how they did. And the president was telling me that he wins too. His insurance premiums go down.
Right.
He has employees that aren't spending time smoking. They're inside. So it's in everybody's best interest to get on the right track and be as healthy as you can.
That number needs to change, and every one of us has a responsibility, I believe, to bring down that cost. It really, I look at it as, okay, another challenge.
Right.
My challenge is that we as a country and as people need to support and help each other to try and change the numbers and the amount of people that are dying. And it's really, we talked about the Simple 7, and you hit the nail on the head, Judy, when you said it's a little tweak here and a little tweak there that's going to have that in a much larger, bigger impact.
It will.
Because it's for the long term.
It's for the long term. It's a lifestyle
tomorrow.
you're shooting for.
Exactly.
It's not changing your diet just for what you eat. It's changing your diet because you're way out down here now. It's a marathon,
Right.
but it should be because it's
It is
easier
a
in little
marathon.
increments.
Yeah.
And no one's going to want you. I mean, it's negative to change everything. Just say, okay, I'm going to start eating all over again. Do a little bit at a time, or you just say, I can't do all that. It's overwhelming.
Well, take the analogy like when somebody first starts running.
Yeah.
They've got all kinds of programs out there, couch decay, because people aren't going to start with a marathon.
No.
They're going to
or even a
start
mile.
They're going to start with walking that mile.
Right.
It's that little fun run that's a mile long.
Yeah.
And then you build to the 5K, and
you
then
end
you
up
go to the
hooked.
half marathon, and then you go to the marathon. This is the same concept. It's starting and progressing and getting
Get some
better.
broccoli on the plate and do that alone. Oh, I'm kidding because so many people don't like it.
Oh, broccoli's great for you.
I love it.
So
but
many
I mean,
ways.
just do that. If you're not eating a lot of vegetables, just bring one. You may find you like that and then try another because they're
Right.
not all bad.
And how many, we want 5 to 6 servings
Yep.
of fruits and vegetables
Produce.
every day.
Yep.
So another challenge. Are you having 5 to 6 fruits and vegetables
And that can be
every day?
afternoon. I have an afternoon snack every day of a bunch of oranges or grapefruit or
Yeah.
and some nuts because I like the balance. But I think if you can, it's not hard to get those servings
No.
in a day
No.
if you start early
Yeah,
and get what you like.
and start it off first thing in the morning with, having fruit on your cereal or
Yep.
your oatmeal or your
Yogurt.
whatever you're having. Put fruit on it. It enhances it.
It does enhance
flavor.
it. I've gotten hooked on these lovely wild blueberries that, yes, they're frozen, but they're really tasty.
Frozen
And I
fruit
put them
is
in
totally
yogurt. I put
fine.
them in cereal every other day kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they do zip it up a little.
Yeah.
It's an extra little Twing. That's not a word.
Twing? Oh, it can be. It can be
It was
one
gonna
of
be
your
tweak
words.
or zing,
Or
and it came out twing.
twing.
I like it. All right, I'm keeping it.
Contact
I'm keeping
Webster.
it.
Put it in. So,
You know, another thing, I remember reading that women get a few more years before women after 55 are much more vulnerable to heart disease, men after 45.
right.
So, you know, it's not a bad thing to remember that, whichever gender you are, because it doesn't mean you're going to have it.
Yeah.
It just means your chances are great around those ages. So, you know.
The other thing is, speaking of women and health,
And
seeing
health.
we are two women
There we are.
and heart health, and
Yep.
this is our month to really help people be
Exactly.
educated, is that we don't have to be super women all the time.
No.
And I've gone to the Go Red event in Hanover,
Yep.
at the Hanover Inn that they have for the last few years. And the stories that they have, these women, they're amazing stories and success stories that just really, you know, tears
Well,
and
it
brings
motivates, too.
It brings you to tears. But the common thing with all of them is that they said, this can't be happening to me. You go into denial. You don't.
You do.
You know, it's not a heart attack. I'm just got indigestion.
Yeah. Well, the
Or-
denial's probably worse in that disease more than any other.
Right.
And you look at the people that you've heard of or know that were extreme, wonderful athletes that conk out on the middle of a run. Or
Right.
I had an interesting chat with my doctor about that one day. I said, it just always baffles me how, like Jim Fix, the first big known runner, died running. And people say, well, how could that be? He said, because they're working their heart more than a lot of people you know. It was fascinating. I'd never heard it that way. They are really asking their hearts
To do a lot.
to work overtime.
Yeah.
And that doesn't always end up in tragedy, but it could. It was the only time I ever got an answer to why all the healthy people are dying
They're working
that
their
didn't
heart.
know they had the artery blockage or the. So you always have to assume, not assume you have it, but live as if you
Yeah.
are going to, no.
Think twice
doesn't
before
work.
you just say, oh, I'll
doesn't
just take another, pill for indigestion or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Chest pain is serious. I mean, that's the one you really need to be making a phone call on.
And sweaty and
All those things.
the tingling in the hands.
And you
all
know
the
that's not
signs.
normal. You know it's not indigestion. You just wish it were.
Right. Again, it goes back to that denial, and I'll give it a few minutes. Well, those few
Tums,
minutes can
you can
be.
die in those minutes.
Yeah.
That's what they always, and
Yeah.
Tums isn't going to fix a heart attack, so
No.
you better just not assume that.
Right.
Anyway, we aren't perfect. We don't mean to sound as if we are.
No.
Oh my God, am I
These are
not
just
perfect?
tips.
But we just try to do some homework on these subjects, and
Yeah.
it's astounding what we find out.
Yeah.
And I think most of it's easy. It's hard if you've never done any of this, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it. As we said,
Right.
baby steps.
So for those that need more support or want more information,
Right.
the American Heart Association has some great information.
They
That's
do.
where a lot of the statistics that I
Yep.
brought with me today, as well as the CDC.
Yep.
Has some great information. Healthfinder.gov
Yep.
is really amazing with what you can find out. And
Yeah, the internet's just a wonderful
Yeah.
place to be. Mayo Clinic, all these places that are reputable,
yeah,
they're going to have pretty good information. A lot of it will obviously be the same as the one you read before, and it should be.
and yeah,
Those
it's
things don't
consistent.
change.
And stroke's another one. We talk about
Yeah.
heart disease and strokes.
Right.
And I think that, as you said, our guests next time will have the statistics from the medical side
Exactly.
and can
And
tie in all that.
And he's
heart
seen it
attack.
firsthand. He sees it every day firsthand. So
Right.
he's just a wealth of knowledge. And I think what we've done is simply talk about what we know
Yeah,
and have read. But,
and experienced with people.
well,
I mean, and
I've
that's-
lost people to heart disease.
Yeah, it's and it's every one of us out there. We talk. I always hear every one of us has been impacted by cancer. Well, I would guess that probably just about everybody else has also been
think
impacted
so.
by heart disease.
I think so.
I would love to see more people get involved with being aware of what they can do to make a difference to
Yeah.
decrease the number of
Yeah. If you could
heart-
lower that number of the daily tragedies, wouldn't it be amazing if 10 people could make it could lower it by 1. I mean, just do something that would bring numbers down, just like you want to go bring the numbers of homeless down and hungry down. You just, I mean, if every one of you out there, I see you, just made one of these changes and kept with it, and then when you're really comfortable and it's part of your pattern, add another one, you're going to be doing more than you imagine for yourself.
Yeah.
And that also means to your family and people that you don't want to leave behind.
Yeah, we care about people and we want people around. So, and
Yeah.
it's up to you. I mean, you are the only one that's in control
Exactly right.
of preventing it. And I always say, why wait until you have a life event
Right.
to do something about it? Get ahead of
Which
it.
is why prevention has become such a huge part of medicine in general,
Instead of
because
just-
there are a lot of things you can do now that our ancestors didn't know. They weren't into prevention. They ate more healthy than we did in some
Yeah.
ways,
Yeah.
but they did not know what was going to kill them.
Right.
And cancer, now that we all live longer, they all would have ended up maybe with cancer if their lifespan had been as long as
Longer.
ours is going
Yeah.
to be.
Knock on wood.
Yeah,
And you know, the other thing too, we've talked a lot about the U.S., but this is a global issue.
You're right.
And you know, we may want to think that you know other countries are healthier or don't eat and they're not as obese, which that is true. I mean, the U.S. is leading that.
oh, sure.
But it is a global issue in the sense of heart disease for other reasons. It may not be the overweight,
Right.
but it could be the high blood pressure
Right.
or the blood sugars or
All the
cholesterols.
factors are
Yeah.
out there for anyone to have. So,
Yeah.
Well, we're almost done.
No,
No, I'm sorry.
we got
But I want to do something I haven't done in the last couple of shows. I want you to explain in the next couple of minutes or minute your whole approach now. Your
What I'm doing?
the new world you're living in and setting up for yourself. You're coaching and all this, but I need to know. I want you to let them know
Okay.
that what you're about.
So my business is Wellness Game Plan, and what that is a business that will provide individuals and businesses an opportunity to develop wellness programs, training, coaching, and so I can come in as an inspirational or motivational speaker for groups or leadership teams. So from a business standpoint, and then I do fitness training with clients one-on-one and do coaching with them. And some of it is just accountability and lifestyle.
Right.
Other of it is actual setting up exercise programs. So I really got two things going on, which I
Yes.
love because I can take it in such a
Yeah.
different direction.
Now,
so
will you go to their home when you're training them?
I can go to the home,
Yep.
they can come to my home.
Yep.
And in the sense of setting up, you know, businesses.
Business is a whole different kettle
Yeah,
of fish.
a
Yeah.
whole different thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I take it on the road and
Good. So anyone that's out there that's in the corporate world, she's very good at the corporate end of the wellness thing. So
thank you.
pay attention. You might need her.
Yeah,
You should need her.
I love it. Yeah, no, I've got a couple that are making some changes and making some differences
Good.
with employees, and that's really exciting to see that because that just that feeds off from each other. Once you start seeing
Yeah.
the results of you know small groups making a
Right.
difference, it's really enlightening to see
And
the
think
change.
how good you feel. Because
Oh.
you've made a difference in their lives. They're doing the work,
Yeah.
but you're guiding them as to
Right.
how to do the work. So it's a big deal, and I urge you to get in touch because she's doing a good thing.
Thanks. Appreciate
Okay, so the amateurs have spoken, and next time, we're going to have a professional on who's going to give us a lot more help with the whole heart thing,
Yeah.
because it really is a big, huge deal.
And I have
with-
a feeling, I'm going to interrupt you and say,
Yeah.
I have a feeling that he'll echo a lot of this
Oh,
stuff.
I think so.
Which is, you know, going to be awesome. But I'm intrigued by this guest with everything that he's done
Right.
and has shared,
Right.
and how what a great individual he is, and really has an impact on a lot of
And
people.
he's in the hospital. He's in with the patients. He's
local.
seeing the results of some of these, maybe, I don't want to say poor choices, but lifestyles that didn't necessarily help.
Mm-hmm.
And he's seeing them at bedside, and nothing, I can't wait to have it happen because he's going to be, I'm just going to sit here and let him go.
I know, and I have to say that he is a regular attendee at the Go Red Luncheon
Good.
for Women. He totally supports
Good.
and is involved and active with it. So
Good.
he is.
Should
yeah,
we say his name?
No.
No.
It's going to bring him back.
Okay.
It's like a, you know, it's what You dangle it out there a little
World
tease.
renowned, and I can't say his name. Okay, well, tune in, because he will be here. And I think you'll learn a whole lot more than you did today, although I hope we helped break the ground for changes you can make while you wait to see him. So, thank you all so much for watching. Thanks, Patty.
Thanks.
Another
It's been
great
fun.
show.
It goes so fast.
I know, and we hope you'll tune in every time we're on. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye now.